We're going to put that on the truck. Our fine friends on the other side of the pond there in the Orient got in touch with me, asked me if I'd like to check out one of their light bars. I thought it was a joke at first, and but after clarifying that they had in fact seen my videos and they didn't even mind them that much for some reason, they still wanted to send me a light bar. I said, by all means, send me your light bar. What we settled on, well, what I decided I wanted to do a review on was a 22-inch light bar. So here's what it looks like degloved. She looks like a decent light bar. Now, I'll freely admit I was a little hesitant at first to actually do this review because I've never had a company approach me and say, hey, have a look at our product. In this case, I didn't mind so much because I have heard of the company. Auxbeam's well known. They've got a pretty good reputation. So I don't think it'd be too hard to give a good review on this. I don't want to do a bad review on a product that a company's given me. That's kind of, it puts you in a hard spot, which is why a lot of people say, I don't want to do any shill reviews. And I don't blame them for that, because as soon as you're not paying for something with your money, you're immediately less critical of it, right? So, as a viewer, I need you to keep that in mind while you're watching this video. You know, I don't want to keep anything from you guys, so you use your own judgment. I'm going to be as honest as I can, but I gotta say, this does look like a nice light bar. This is their 5D series. This is a 22-inch. They come in this is the smallest in this series. They have up to 52-inch. They have a variety of sizes. And I didn't want to be greedy. And really, this is probably going to be more than what I need for driving to work, blinding people on the freeway, right? The cool thing about this light bar is that it comes with a nice wiring harness and this snappy little button. I love snappy buttons. Probably hard to hear. But yeah, so that button's great. I like that. It comes with a relay. Nice fat relay here. And that's going to make sure that all of the pixies go right from your battery to the light. And not have to run through a bunch of wiring and through a switch. A lot of times that's how guys will wire things up, just directly to the switch. And you run into issues because a lot of times if you don't check your switch, it's not going to be rated for what you're using it for. I don't know how many times I've seen switches that are way too small installed in automotive applications, and they work for a while, but sometimes they'll quit. Other times I've seen them get like hot, just because they start to it's just too much current for them. And the extra current gets turned into something, right? They turn into a big fat resistor, so that extra current goes out as heat. And you don't want that. You end up with a car fire. Terrible. I'll try not to make this too painful to watch, but let's install this guy, wire it up, and hopefully it'll be some help to you. Now, I don't even have a plan on where I'm going to put this thing yet. Maybe down here wouldn't be so bad. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll figure it out. Well, I thought I'd test it out. So I got it all wired up, all temporary and janky like here. There's two wires coming off this relay. There's a black one and a red one, so obviously, you know, hook them up where you figure they ought to go. In this case, I've just got them wired right up to the battery. Here's our switch, and when we push it, we get light. Glorious light. That's pretty darn bright. I'm pretty impressed with that. Yeah, and as I kind of thought, it looks like these are spots in the middle, and then it's more diffused on the sides, because there's a pretty good spread going off to the sides here. That's nice to see, actually. You can get a lot of coverage from one light just by getting one of these light bars. Haven't broken it yet. So I fabbed up a bumper. Fuck's sakes. I fabbed up a mounting bracket. I've got a piece of angle iron that's going to slip in there, and then it's got a couple of holes on either side that this light bar can just mount to. Since I do mostly city driving, it's not going to do any harm being down there. Alright, there we go. Bracket's in there. Skid plate's nice and tight, snug. With the light mounted to this bracket, it shouldn't go anywhere. I've got my relay mounted right here. I'm going to connect my power right to my power distribution, just because that's nice and easy. My fuse will be down right here, easy to get at. The ground, as luck would have it, my battery cable had this weird little chunk of ground hanging off with the butt connector on. I honestly don't know what that's for. This is like a universal cable I stuck on years ago. And so I think what I'm going to do is just cut the end off the ground for the relay and just squish it in there. Don't underestimate the importance of a really good ground connection, because you might think everything's wired up fine, but if you've got a weak ground, like it's going to cause you problems. This is the wire for that remote button, and I've just got it routed up to that corner. And as dirty as it sounds, I am tempted to just keep it coiled up down here, and on the off chance I actually want to use it, I'll just poke it up through my hood and into my window, because the police around here don't take kindly to light bars, and I'm kind of worried that, well, I figure the plausible deniability of having it coiled up down here might be helpful. Also, I'm lazy. Plus, you know, as nice as this wiring harness is, you have to poke quite the hole in your firewall if you want to route this through. So if I'm going to put that button inside, I'd be tempted to cut this right off, push it through, and then just splice it back together myself. But, you know, that's how she goes. The power cable for the lights themselves, going down just through my fender there. They pop out the bottom here, and I've got them routed just on the back side of my skid plate. And all I'm going to do is put the light here, connect them up. Haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do yet. I might just throw spade connectors on the other end, and because there's a bit of slack on the light, I'll just pull it back behind so that this connector is kind of out of sight, out of mud, and then I'll just pull the slack back up here and maybe coil it up, just so I have that extra slack in case I want to mess around with that connector again. I can pull it through. You always want to try and make things easier for yourself if you can. That's not bad. The only part of this bumper I was really ever kind of unhappy with was that big gap at the bottom. And this is shaping up to fill that in nicely. So there you go. If you get the spade connectors on there, you can just plug them right in. So now I'm just going to pull all that wire back. Okay, I got this all routed in nicely. Zip tied up here. Goes all the way across to the back there. Zip tie here and here. And like I said, here's my little service coil. Just gonna tuck it down in there. And soon it'll get dirty and match everything else. You won't even see it. Got the power wire in my distribution. This is, I forget what it's called. This is the main power distribution in my truck anyway, so everything goes there. So that's a nice good power spot. Always make sure to disconnect your negative cable when you're working on your electrical stuff like this, so you don't accidentally arc out your tools and zap yourself. Oh fuck. There, it's a little more like it. There we go. This is pretty much as done as it's gonna get. You know, I've got the wire all routed in, like I said. Everything's connected, tucked away. Oh. And I got my switch under the hood here, like I said. I'm just gonna figure out a way to coil it up and hide in the corner when I want to do some driving down the trail or something. I got basically just enough slack to get it inside here. So there you are, the AUX beam 22-inch light bar installed on my 2000 Jeep Cherokee. You got to see more or less how it's wired up with that wiring harness. It's actually really simple. It probably took me about 2 hours total, but that also included the time it took me to make the mounting bracket. You may not even have to do anything like that. You might have a spot where you can just drill holes and screw it right down, you know, whether it's on the top, maybe you've got a roof rack, maybe you want it on the hood. You got enough wiring, you can get away with putting it just about anywhere. I would probably give this light bar, if I was going to rate it, out of 5, maybe a 4.5 out of 5. I thought overall it was really nice. There's a couple of things I'd change, like that big connector on the button is a little bit annoying because it makes it tough to route. And overall the build quality is good. I feel like it's pretty reasonably priced for what you get. Definitely bright, nice looking light. Hope this was helpful to anyone who has one of these, who's scratching their head trying to figure out what to do with all the wires. Well, you know, if you're a little confused, don't feel bad. Just take your time, and like I showed you, it's pretty simple. If you have any questions about this, leave them down in the comments, and I'd be happy to answer them. Alright? Thanks for watching. Goddamn. That's awesome. My headlights don't do anything anymore. It just, like I said, it sandwiches between the skid plate here and this body, and it's pinched in there pretty good. Doesn't wiggle around. Skid plate's still nice and solid. Skid plate's not solid. What the fuck?